and welcome to Eric Burdon TV, the show where I talk about wealth, health, love, and relationships and self-awareness. And sometimes I bring people to my channel that I've met on Twitter because that seems to be an ongoing trend this past month. So I have with me Sean Wyman, who is an author, speaker. He recently released a book on Amazon called The Movement Process. And I brought him onto the channel because I want, more or less, we are going to be discussing the past because that's all the purpose of this book that he has. And I feel like the past is really important to understand. And obviously, like you can really grow a lot from understanding a lot about your past. So I'll just leave the floor open for Sean to introduce himself a little bit more, and then we can start going with the questions.
That's great. Well, hello, guys. My name is Sean Wyman. As Eric said, I am a 17-year law enforcement trainer and law enforcement officer. I'm also a prior military veteran. I'm also a speaker. I go around the country, and I've spoken internationally in Canada as well. And I'm so honored, man, to have the opportunity to speak with Eric, one of the bigger up-and-coming YouTube presenters, man. It's an honor to get, it's really cool when you can say you were there from the beginning, right? So
yes,
really
absolutely.
Appreciate the opportunity, man, to be with you from the beginning. And both of us, as we're launching out and kind of flying out of the nest, if you will. So my book, for those who don't know, I just released my book a week ago. It is called Let Go, The Movement Process. It's on Amazon. You can go get it right now. It's called, go to themovementprocess.com. It takes you right to the Amazon link. No opt-in or anything like that. Just a safe place for you to go so you can get to Amazon. And you can get the book in either an ebook or you can get it in paperback, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And it would be an absolute honor. We're going to talk more about what's in the book and how it can hopefully help you. But I'll say this. If you have been abused, if you have been broken, if you've been beaten, if you've been abandoned, if you've gone through traumatic situations in your life and you thought you were able to deal with it on your own, you never asked for help, and you're still holding on to it and you don't know how to let it go, then this is the right book for you.
Yes. Absolutely. And the link that Sean was talking about, that's going to be down in the description of this video as well. So you guys can go and click on that and go and check it out and go and buy the book.
They can click below.
Yeah, click below.
Click below.
Yeah, I'll put like arrows and flashy, sparkly things. And,
click
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, why don't we just dive right into the questions?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so the very first question I want to be asking is, the past can be explained in many different fashions. What's your definition of the past, and what does it represent to you?
I believe that the past is anything that happened a second after it happened, right? Like the moment is there, like right now is our moment, and then it's gone, and it's into the past. I like to think of it as what's behind us now. That's the way I look at it. Unfortunately, it wasn't always the case. Unfortunately, for a long time, it was a historical place where I could go and store feelings and emotions and challenges and things I was afraid of, and I would put them away in the past and blame it on my past. So I allowed the past to control me like so many people do.
Yeah, that was definitely one problem that I've had with me personally. Like I had a lot of trouble with speaking, and the reason why I started this channel in the first place was because I wanted to be speaking a lot more. I wanted to be perfecting my skills and reaching out to more people and so on. And but yeah, that's an awesome answer. The second question is, you explained in your book, Let Go, The Movement Process, that you were in foster care when you were younger, and you were in the system for quite some time as well. Can you explain what that whole experience was like?
Yeah, that's a tough place to go, man, because I was in foster care from 10 to 18.
Yeah.
I went in many different foster homes, group homes. The first foster home I went in was a very old couple. And they were matter of fact, my first foster father died right in front of me. And basically he was old. and he was laying in his chair and he was watching something on television, and everybody was out doing something, shopping or whatever, and I was there with him watching TV, and all of a sudden I turn around and he's blue. And what's crazy was I just gone through my first aid class, like seriously, like how to do CPR. So I was able to actually initiate CPR, and this is at 10, man. I was able to initiate CPR long enough. My little one of my little cousins was there, and I told them to call 911, and they called 911. The ambulance got there right away, and because of what we were able to do, my foster mother at the time was able to say goodbye to him before he passed away. So that was a really powerful thing. That led to going to another foster care home where I ended up in a really challenging situation because there were some really bad things going on, some molestation, not with me personally, but between the father and daughter that were at the house and stuff. Just a really weird, crazy situation. And then that led to a group home. And in the group home, it was really weird because it's a bunch of misfit kids, we're just a bunch of at-risk youth running around just doing whatever we wanted to do. And there wasn't a lot of guidance. There wasn't a lot of nurturing. There wasn't a lot of support. It was just pretty much, okay, yeah, you can stay here as long as you stay out of trouble and that kind of thing. And then I moved to Baltimore. I grew up between D.C. and Baltimore, and then I ended up in Baltimore at another group home. And that was very high-risk group home, man. It was a lot of really solid at-risk youth that some were, really violent, and I got in a lot of fights. I got in a lot of issues. I got jumped at school one day, got crushed, the back of my skull got crushed in by a baseball bat. I mean, I could go on and on, man. There was a lot of challenges. I fell into alcohol very young age. Alcoholic by the time I was 13, like I was drinking consistently on a weekly basis at 13. Yeah, man. These are not things. And by the way, if children are watching this, these are not things that I'm bragging about by any means. These are things that I went through. And I'm not really proud of them, but at the same time, there were things that it was just part of that part of my life when I was going through it. So finally, when I got about 15 and a half was when I got into a foster home where I actually got some stability and some people that genuinely cared about my existence and wanted to see me progress. And they were very tough on me. They pushed me to do well in school. I was really not doing well in school. They, obviously they took the alcohol away, but I still was able to consume it. It wasn't that difficult, to get alcohol, but they did their best. I mean, they did the best that they could with what they had to deal with. And I graduated high school because of them. If it wasn't for them, I might not have graduated high school. So foster care was a challenging time because I'm also going through all these feelings and these emotions about my mother. I feel like my mother's abandoned me. I'm also watching my mom. Every time I go for visitation, I'm watching my mom getting mentally and physically abused on a regular basis. I'm hearing the horror stories, man. My other little brother is born by this time, and he's staying there, and he's getting beat every day. And so there was just a lot going on in that time, a very challenging time to say the least.
Yeah. Tough stuff. The next question, in your own professional and personal experiences, how long do you think it takes for people to move on from the past?
That's a great question because there are some that can just go. They can go, all right, well, that really sucked. That hurt. All right, I'm over it. Let me move forward and move on. Unfortunately, that's not the case with a large majority. I heard an alarming stat. My good friend Jim Beach, if Jim jumps on here, heard an alarming stat from him today. Girls ages 13 to 15 have the highest suicide rate in the country right now. 13 to 15 years old, man. It's just so, obviously there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, right? There's bullying and it's just a really, there's a beautiful part to our society, but there's also a very ugly part to our society. So,
there definitely is.
Yeah, I would say that, I went through a lot of bullying growing up too as well. I was a white kid living in predominantly African-American neighborhoods. My stepfather was black. My mom was white. My stepfather had 4 other sons that were African-American. They didn't really understand the whole, there's just some really awkward things that were going on all during that time, So it was difficult to, it's difficult to pinpoint one thing, but I'll say this, right? There's a lot of people that, like me, that got stuck. And the reason we got stuck was not because we can't move forward. It's because we choose not to move forward. And what I mean by that is we think we're doing the right thing. We think, well, you know what? I don't have to hurt anybody else. I don't have to affect anybody else. I can just kind of grab this and tuck it down inside of me. And as long as nobody knows, I can pretend like everything's okay and everything will be okay. And that was me for 30 years, Eric. Man, I thought that as long as I kept it inside of me and I didn't share it with anybody, that it wasn't going to affect me and that I could really just pretend like it never happened. And that wasn't the case, because obviously, you got your subconscious brain that remembers everything, and our minds are so powerful and so strong. It wasn't something that was easy to let go. So there are some people that never, ever let it go, and there's some people that can do it very quickly. So it just depends on the person that's dealing with the situation.
Mm-hmm. That kind of reminds me of a saying one of my friends told me, and he said, it's important to share your thoughts with people, because if you have no one to share it with, you're basically sharing it with yourself, and your mind can be a very lonely place.
Yes.
For sure. But yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that. So the next question is, what do you think is the reason why people cling to the past so much?
Because that's what they remember. That's where like for me, there were good times in my past. And like when I left, it was funny, right? When I left for my future at 18, I went back to my past. And the way I explain that is, when I was 7, we left Albuquerque, New Mexico to go all the way over to Washington, D.C. Well, before that moment happened, the best time of my life was when I was with my mom, and my mom was a single parent. I mean, we had some amazing times. I remember going to the original Star Wars movie, right, back in 1978, I think it was, and sitting there and going to, I remember the day like it was yesterday, man. I went to church with my mom. We went to McDonald's. We had a great lunch, and then we went and saw Star Wars, man. It's still one of my all-time favorites, right? Because it's just one of those movies that was just awesome, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, looking back, that's what I remembered were those really good times. So as soon as I turned 18, I made the decision that I had to go back to New Mexico. That's where, if I went back to New Mexico, all the happy parts were going to be there, and my life was going to be amazing, and I was going to just live this awesome life, and all this other stuff that I dealt with would just go away. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah, which is a little unfortunate, but that's to be expected sometimes when it comes to reflecting on the past.
Yeah, well, I would say that a lot of people go back to the past because there's something positive back there, and they're looking for something positive. And because they dealt with something challenging or traumatic in their past as well, they don't have enough courage to look forward into their future. That was me. I didn't have enough courage to look forward into my future, not for a long time.
Well, the next question is, based on what you've gone through life now and learned, what piece of advice would you give your former self?
I would say, number one, don't hide it. Deal with it. Because the sooner you deal with it, the happier you're going to be in your life, the more productive you're going to be, the more energetic you're going to be, the more positive things you're going to attract in your life. For me, I know that when I tucked all that stuff away, I actually created this force field, this barrier around me that rejected people. People didn't want to be around me because they could tell that there was this chip on my shoulder, if you will. And, so I repelled a lot of people away subconsciously, not even realizing it, right? I know it now because I've studied law of attraction and, faith and all these other things, right? And you realize, man, that your positive vibrations are what are going to attract other people to you. But unfortunately, if you have something that you're storing away, say that skeleton in your closet, whether you realize it or not, it does weigh, and it will project out to other people, and there will be this this underlying, not sure about that. You know, I'm not sure about this guy. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Well, one thing that I've been reading is that that nobody likes being around depressing people. And so if you're openly depressing, then obviously you don't really want to be around that person. But well, you were saying that there was a chip on your shoulder, and that you might not be you might not be open about that. It might just be like someone looks at you and they say something. There's just like a gut feeling type of thing.
Yes.
that they have that's saying something's not right here.
That's right. That's right. And that's the thing, right? Is you end up repelling more. So the first thing I would say is deal with it. Don't try to hide it. Deal with it. The second thing is accept the fact that you need help, right? Don't be afraid. Like it's like a drug addict or an alcoholic or anybody else. First, you have to acknowledge you have the problem.
Yeah.
Then you've got to acknowledge that you need help with the problem. And then you've got to be willing to accept the solution. I think the same thing goes with your past. You have to acknowledge what happened. You have to accept that it happened. And then you've got to find someone to help you to let it go, to move forward. And that's exactly why I wrote this book. I felt like it was an absolute guideline that I had to put this out to the world, man. I felt that, you know, and I don't know where your faith's at, Eric, but for me personally, right, I felt like God called me to write this book, that everything I went through in my life was meant for this moment, to write this book, to get it into as many people's hands as I could, because I wanted to impact as many lives as I possibly could, not for fame and fortune and money, but to genuinely, it's kind of like if you had the
value.
Yeah, if you had the cure for cancer, right? There's some people that would go and they'd pay the highest bidder, right? And I'm not trying to do that, man. I'm just genuinely trying to help people, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are like me. I know I know, man. I've met people that were abused that never told a soul. There's women that were raped that have never told a soul. There are kids that were beaten up in school that never told their parents, never told anybody. And all that stuff is just building up inside of them, right? And we wonder why we have so much violence and we have so much broken structure, right? And I believe part of it is just as simple as that, man, that we're not paying attention to each other. We're not caring about each other as human beings. And you know, that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book. It was because I wanted to create the foundation for helping people to let go of their past. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm none of those things. I'm just somebody who's experienced it, gone through the fire, realized what happened through the grace of God, and decided to write my story and share it with somebody else. And I've already impacted several hundred people in just a week. Have already hit me up and said, man, your book is changing my life, man. I've read and I can relate to so much of what you're going through, and the process makes so much sense, man. And when you read the book, it lays it out. It's not like I hold back, right? I don't hold back on what the secret is because I want you to opt in and buy something, right? But I give it to you, man. I say, hey, look, this is the process. This is the guideline. Now, this book is not the end all be all, going to fix all your problems and change your life and you're going to be a multimillionaire. However, if you ever want to be anything else more than what you are now in your life, chances are you're holding on to something that you haven't let go yet. And until you're willing to let that go, you're stuck, man, whether you like it or not. And you can try as many opportunities as you want. You can build as many professional relationships as you want. You can establish as much credibility as you want. But if you're still holding on to that thing, or things for some people, if you don't let that go, then you'll never truly be free to do what you really, what God's real purpose for you is. And that's how I felt about it.
Yeah.
So did that answer your question in simple terms? In simple terms,
it did.
Right?
It definitely did.
The situation.
Yes.
Recognize that it's a problem and that you need to deal with it, and then go find the help or ask for the help that you need, or accept the help that is extended to you when it is extended, so that you can deal with it and get it off your chest and let it go.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. And now my last question is, what's another piece of advice you'd give to others who are struggling through life right now? And I feel like you've already answered that question pretty much.
Go get the book. Go get it right now. No. The first thing I would say is that if there's anything that I'm saying to you that's resonating, then consider going and purchasing this book, because I just feel like, and if you feel like this book gives you no value, connect with me directly, and I'll send you your money back, man, because I feel like this book is that powerful that, God's already told me this book's going to go into 1 million people's hands, and I had no idea how. Last night, I'm on a radio show with a woman who puts me in front of 120,000 people live that now know this book exists. Not to mention all the people on Amazon, not to mention you, not to mention all the amazing people in all my social media circles. So it is going to happen, right?
Oh, yeah. It will happen.
So it's just a matter of understanding that. I guess that's the best advice I can give, man, is that if you really want to have true freedom, man, if you want to have the family you want, if you want to have the life you want, no matter what that is, and I'm not here to predict or judge what your life is, because your life is your life to live the way you want to live it. Mm-hmm. But if you really want a real shot at it, man, to really do something amazing, to do something that is like so far beyond anybody's expectations, including your own, that the only way they could happen is through divine intervention, then you've got to let go of the past. And, when I was 30, that's when I got the tap on the shoulder, and it was basically, through a scripture that I shared the scripture in the book, and that scripture told me, you've got to let this go, man. You've got to forgive your mother, because if you don't forgive your mother, you and I can never collaborate and work together, right? And that's really the way it kind of came out, was I got so much I want to do with you, but I can't do anything with you because you're not paying attention. You're not focused. You've got to forgive your mom. You got to release these emotions. You got to let this go. And that's where the title came from, Let Go, because everybody kept saying, all I hear you saying is let go, right? All I hear you saying is let go. And the movement was part of my my initial brand in my speaking business. I was never going to go and write a book and this direction. This was not the direction I planned on going. But, it's funny. Sometimes you think you know where you're going to go, and then you get redirected where you're really supposed to be. And that's what's important. To recognize it's cool to have a dream of where you want to go, but also be open to accepting where you're needed and where you can serve the most. And one of my mentors shared that with me. He said, Sean, you can share with everybody, but you need to go find where you can share the most and have the most impact dramatically. And that's what I'm working on now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all the questions I have, at least the formal questions. Of course, you can go and pick up Sean Wyman's book on Amazon. I have the link down in the description below again, so I'll put flashing lights and all sorts of stuff. So go and check out the description of this video, and you'll be able to go and buy his book. And I'll also leave all of his social media handles there as well, so you can go and follow him on Twitter. You can go and check out his Facebook page.
Awesome. Connect with me, guys. Connect with me.
And connect with him, because he's awesome. I've had a lot of really good conversations with Sean so far, and he's also given me a few kind of life lessons, like when get a credit card and all of that. All that.
Get a card, man.
Book.
You got to buy online.
Yeah. So anyway, before we go, I have some more questions for you. Basically, in the form of a lightning round. They're just really quick fire questions.
Yeah.
And you need to answer them as quickly as you possibly can. So let's begin the lightning round.
The lightning round.
The lightning round.
I love it.
All right. First question. You walk into a crowded room. What's the first thing you do?
I walk into a crowded room. What's the first thing I do? I look at the room, I gauge the room, and I try to figure out who I want to talk to first.
All right. What is your favorite piece of fruit?
My favorite piece of fruit's got to be an apple.
Apple? All right. What's the last thing you drank?
What was that called? There's this lemon energy drink that we had tonight.
Lemon energy drink. All right. What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote? It's Jim Rohn. It is excuses are well made up lies, and it's actions that create results. If you want to find a way, you will, and if you don't, you'll find an excuse.
Awesome. Frogs or hamsters? What do you prefer?
You say frogs or hamsters?
Yes, frogs or hamsters.
Frogs, man. Frogs.
All right, frogs. Yeah, I love frogs. What is your favorite pastime?
My favorite pastime is spending time with my kids.
All right. What book are you currently reading? If nothing, what's the last book you did read?
I'm reading this prayer book. Matter of fact, can I show it to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's my good friend, one of the other new authors that I just connected with through the Authors in Business group. And this is the book that I'm currently reading right now. It's called How to Pray When You Don't Have Time.
Ooh.
How to Pray When You Don't Have Time. It's from my great friend, Deborah Jones. She even autographed it for me. I love her, man. But yeah, this is a great book. It's actually a devotional prayer book that helps you to learn how to put in time every day for prayer and time with God.
Interesting. What is your favorite outdoor activity?
My favorite shooting.
Shooting.
Yes, I'm a cop, man. I love shooting.
What is the strangest pet peeve you have?
The strangest pet peeve I have. Lynn's over here laughing at me. I'm looking at her. I'm going to say dirty dishes in the sink over a day. Drives me crazy.
All right, and the last one. What's your favorite candle scent?
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
I'm a vanilla guy.
That's all right. I can dig just the original, just vanilla.
Yeah, it's a nice smell. It's a great scent.
Yeah. It's a pretty good smell. Cinnamon's good too.
I like it for meditation too, man. It's a great scent for meditation.
Yeah, I haven't tried scented stuff at least yet with meditation. But anyway, those are all my questions now. Sean Wyman is now off the hook. But yay! I've been more editing work somewhere around there. Yeah. Anyway, Sean Wyman's social media stuff is all down in the description below. So yeah, go and check all of that out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed this video at any capacity, make sure you press that like button. But also don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already for more information and more collabs that I'll be posting in the future. Anyway, I will see you guys next time.